Are we gonna go into the ink machine? I don't want to go in the ink machine. Generic intro into that goes move here, back with another Bendy and the Ink Machine Game 3 video. And today we're doing Bendy Fooled Us, predicting the Chapter 5 reveal. Apparently the last two of these that I have done, or I think they might have changed the story. There's a theory, I think, that they changed the story just to throw Matt off, because maybe he was correct and they just didn't want him to be correct or have the ending spoiled, so they had to twist things up. I'm not really sure what actually happened. I'm not familiar with this game franchise at all, but I've seen two game theories on it in terms of reaction to the last one, which was how Bendy will end. I'll leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also, in a playlist on my channel with all of my other game theory reactions going in chronological order, as well as there's a playlist for FNAF and there's a playlist for Minecraft game theory videos as well. Two separate playlists for that. So there's 3 game theory playlists on my channel, and I really don't know what's going to happen in Chapter 5. Like I said, this franchise is completely new to me. I know nothing about it. I've never seen gameplay of it outside of the game theory videos. So I'm learning through these videos, and it's certainly been quite the experience. I do read all your comments. Leave them down below. You've been super helpful in explaining things to me, and shout out to the patrons, because none of this would be possible if it was not for them. $3 a month gets you all my reaction videos a day early, and none of this would be possible. Seriously, I would not be able to do YouTube if it was for the patrons. So shout out to them, and shout out to all the people watching these videos. We're also like 2,000-ish subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers, which is just an unbelievable milestone. I want to get there before the end of the year. We're going to need all the help we get. It's going to be real close. So if you're not already subscribed, I'd greatly appreciate it if you were. I do game theory every single week for the last couple years, I want to say. But let's go ahead and jump into Bendy Fooled Us, predicting the Chapter 5 reveal. Alright. Dude, I'm not scared. If you get that reference, I just watched the FNAF 4 video, which will be out tomorrow. Patrons should get it.
He has us running the theory machine 24/7. He says he needs to appease the YouTube algorithm to save us all, whatever that means. The theory machine
the almighty
was
algorithm.
never meant to sustain this kind of load. Things are bound to go wrong. I heard the machine say that Han and Leia were Rey's parents.
Work hard and work happy.
If we have one more researcher turned into an ink monster for a science video, I'm out of here.
Hi, Matt. Oh, no. I mean, I just watched Vanoss play FNAF 4. That was terrifying. I did not expect FNAF 3 to be as scary as it was. It was terrifying. But, yeah, I've been doing those videos. Those videos come out on Thursday. And also Pika Part 2 with Smitty.
Hello, Internet.
Oh, that game.
Welcome to
Nuts.
Game Theory, where today it's getting a little sketchy. That's right. It's time to revisit the world of Bendy.
Also, they did a Poppy
Machine.
Playtime.
Recently, Chapter 4,
one out
the
today.
penultimate episode of this 5-part series came out, and whoo boy, what a difference a few months make. Out went the exhausting series of fetch quests from Chapter 3, and in came stealth, minigames,
Stealth?
actual
Okay, not playing it.
gameplay, a barbecue.
What? That's cool.
And not just one, but 2 boss battles. In fact, the
Really?
game had us seeing double everywhere. Double Alice, that is. After proving herself to be a little devilish in Chapter 3...
Just a little?
Holy...
Yeah, I don't like scary games.
Chapter 4 ends with Alice Angel finally getting her comeuppance at the hands of...
Alice?
Angel.
But an actual good one?
Excuse me.
Huh?
Excuse me, what?
Great question, me from the past. That's exactly what I aim to answer today. Now, obviously,
there's a
the
good
reveal
one?
of a second Alice Angel
So
accompanied
they're
by
just
a
bad
Mecha
copies?
Boris was a huge twist that no one saw coming. But it was also the clue that we needed to figure this whole thing out. Because for all the time
I'm guessing
we online
that's what they added to
theorizing
throw 'em
about
off.
Bendy, we've also been ignoring the other title character here, the Ink Machine. Specifically, how
That is
Ink
title,
Machine
yeah.
works. And between the twist ending of Chapter 4, some hidden files in the game, and most
Oh?
importantly of all, changes to the first 3 chapters now that they've been remastered, we'll finally
What do you
be able
mean
to piece together
remastered?
what's really going
What?
on in this game, and the
game was still
surprise
coming out?
reveals that'll bring Chapter 5 to a close. Let's start at the end. The shocking reveal of Alice Croft and Mecha Boris. Watch everyone on YouTube play through this chapter, and we're all shook by this moment.
Who's that?
What?
Boris! I'm the real Alice Angel, hold on!
But in
I mean, I know
retrospect,
that-
we shouldn't have been.
that
Two
backdrop,
Alice
but,
Angels
like-
shouldn't have been so surprising. We've literally been walking through halls of dismembered Boris's,
Oh, there's multiple.
for months now.
Okay.
I mean, the first big reveal way back in Chapter 1 is a dead Boris. A big moment of
Oh.
Chapter 3 is dedicated to escort missioning a Boris through a swamp
Just
of dead
why there's
Boris.
so
And
many
yet
of
all
them?
of a sudden we're like, whoa!
That's
there
gotta be
are
kinda
two
scary.
Alices? How is that possible? What this clearly confirms for
I
us
mean,
is
very
that Ink
clearly.
Machine is able to produce the same character multiple times.
But some
And
are
as
just
Alice
bad
mentions
copies?
in Chapter 3,
Maybe
not
they get
only is the
corrupted?
machine producing multiples of the same character, but it also does it at varying levels of quality.
Aha! So we have the best Boris.
So now
Oh,
let's
so
take a closer look at our two
she's
Alices
a
to see what we
bad
can learn.
copy, and
Chapter
she wants to be a
3's
good
Alice
copy,
clearly has
so she
something
wants a
wrong
good
with her.
copy.
Her face is half melted off, she talks with
That's
some
why.
kind of weird echoey voice, and oh yeah, the homicidal rage. This Alice
normal.
refers to herself as Susie,
Not
meaning that
Susie,
she,
okay,
at
well.
one point, was Susie Campbell, Alice Angel's original voice actress.
Dreams come true, Susie. Dreams come true.
Spoiler alert, Susie, they don't. Unless, of course, your dream was getting run through the chest by a Kill la Kill style scissor blade. Now let's look at our new Alice. If you look in the game files,
Why does she have
Chapter
horns?
4's Angel is referred to as Allison Angel. This name is likely a reference to Allison Pendle, the voice actress who took over for Susie Campbell. This honestly goes a
Wait,
long
what?
way to confirm our last Bendy theory, that Joey Drew was using the ink machine to transform employees into the characters.
Now he wants to
But
meet again.
why?
Says he has an opportunity for me. I'll hear him out.
But not only that, the fact that the jealous, rage-fueled Susie became the twisted form of Alice seems to imply that good-hearted
like the-
people have the potential to become perfect versions of the characters they most relate to, while those with impure souls become imperfect copies. It's almost
Wait,
like the ink machine
so-
is passing judgment on those who touch the
So
ink.
all the
Susie's
Borises-
biggest fear was being unremarkable and forgotten.
Are those
So the
all, like,
machine,
different
like some
people,
sort
or
of
is it just
dripping,
copies?
sepia-toned sorting hat, transformed her into something truly monstrous, a perversion of the very character that she loved. And that's not all that we learned from Susie. We also learned that a person can go through the machine multiple times and get different results.
Oh.
Inky womb was a wiggly, pussy, shapeless slug.
And the more you go through, it gets better?
It made me an angel.
Wriggling, shapeless slug? It sounds like her first time through, she was selected to be a searcher, like the ink people and ink
Oh,
enemies.
those
that we
are a
encounter
thing.
throughout the
Okay.
game. Because Susie initially became one of these ink creatures, it's likely that these kinds of creatures are the ink machine's standard output for its basic employees. Much
But
rarer,
well, I
however,
mean,
is the
more
machine
prints
turning
are better.
employees into the biggest stars of the Joey Drew universe: Bendy, Boris, and Alice.
Could have pulled me back.
Do you know what it's like living in the dark puddles?
No, but
Buzzing.
God, it reminds me so much of
Screaming
Bioshock.
voices.
There's
In
a reason
short,
for
the
that.
ink machine is all about a cycle of reincarnation, and it's using humans as ink. All these instances of "he will set us free" written on the walls are the searchers literally searching for an escape from this
Oh.
endless cycle of death and rebirth. And someone
That's
or something
scary.
keeps putting them back through this cycle. Bendy, and that's exactly what we see
He
the
just has
ink
fun
demon doing,
playing
gathering ink
with
monsters
ink.
like we see him do the projectionist in Chapter 4,
Dude, that's
and
such a
sending
cool
them back
looking
into
boss,
the ink
or
supply to
enemy.
be spat out again. Why? Because everyone, as well as Bendy himself, I would suspect, believes that a pure-hearted, perfect Bendy output will be the one who'll be able to end this cycle and finally set all of these trapped people free. This idea of kind-hearted employees transforming into
Oh.
perfect versions of characters is further supported
So there has
by
to be a
Mega
good Bendy,
Boris.
right?
Like Allison Angel, Boris isn't given a name in the main gameplay of the chapter, but if you dig around in the game files again, you'll find that this character is actually named Tom, a reference to Thomas Connor, the disgruntled ink machine maintenance employee.
Whoever thought that these crummy pipes could hold up under this kind of strain either knows something about pressure I don't, or he's some kind of idiot.
And if you're saying to yourself, who? Come on, you guys remember
J-
Tom, right? You know, Tom, the
No.
con man, the Tomster. But in all seriousness, you really had no reason to take notice of this guy. Before
None.
Chapter 4,
Nada.
Thomas Connor was one of those side characters who had no real purpose in the story. He had one out-of-nowhere audio log from Chapter 3 that didn't reveal any new information. This, in turn, led me to conclude in my last Bendy theory that Wally Franks was going to be revealed as Boris in Chapter 4 because
Throughout the chapter,
Yeah.
we've seen how every other major character from the audio logs has been transformed.
That was last week's
into an
video.
ink
I'm not sure what the
monster. So
time jump
unless
was.
A new monster is introduced in Chapter 4, which is pretty late in the game's story to be introducing
Which
new
does
characters,
happen.
That leaves us with only one option. Wally Franks is Boris.
well, wouldn't you know it, but with the release of Chapter 4 came a bunch of updates to Chapters 1 through 3.
Because they did a
the new
remastered,
remastered
which is
editions,
nuts.
which, if you're a theorist like me, reads instead as the Retcon edition. See, it's moments like this that are the most telling for me as I hunt for clues, because as creators go through the process of telling their story, they tend to have a better sense of where they're headed and how they actually want to tell
Well,
that story
and
as
plus
they
a
get
lot of it's
closer to
already
the finish
concrete.
line. And so they go back and tweak a few things and add a few things to better telegraph where they're headed. And true to form, Thomas Connor suddenly became a much more prominent character, with an audio log and ink output schedule being added into Chapter 1 and a joint conversation with the janitor Wally Franks added into Chapter 3. Which begs the question of why. My last theory concluded that Wally Franks had to be Boris. He's one of the most prominent characters in the game. He has a connection with the ink machine as evidenced by the blueprints, and the Meatly has made it clear on Twitter that despite saying time and time again that he never actually made it. Wally never got out of Joey Drew Studios. We also know
sorry,
based
they
on
just
the
fall to
items
the
you
floor.
collect in Chapter 1 for the summoning ritual of the ink machine that he's now the only character left at this point. Joey Drew has his book, Sammy is the record, Thomas Connor is now established with the wrench, Alice is the stuffed toy based on her chapter taking place in the toy workshop, our character Henry is the artist, so he's represented by the ink, which leaves the last item as the ink machine's gear. That's Wally Franks. He's an essential character to this story, appearing in every chapter, and yet the creator of the game decided to retcon Thomas into a bigger role so that he could become Boris, despite the fact that
they have
all
bigger
the signs
plans
are pointing
for
to
Wally
Franks?
Franks
becoming Boris. This tells me one thing,
that
the
something
Meatly
big
has
is
other
coming.
plans for Wally, and has had other plans for Wally the entire time. It tells me that Wally Franks is gonna be revealed to be the Bendy monster.
Oh, really? I guess maybe because he has such a negative
seems like it should
look
be
on the
Joey
place.
Drew. There is tons of evidence for that, but it's starting to feel like that's more and more of a misdirect by the Meatly. I mean, think about what we've learned.
I mean,
about
it might
Joey
be
Drew
too
up to
obvious.
this point. He's selfish, he steals, and he's a liar.
When I agreed to start this whole thing with him, I thought there'd be a little more give and take. Instead, I give, and he takes.
He's not the type of person to test the ink machine on himself, which is why he gives people like Susie a special opportunity, using the ink to turn her
doing them a
into
favor,
Alice as a test case. But our evidence isn't just a psychological analysis of the character. The limping, twisted-footed Bendy that I talked about in the last theory that I thought connected with this shot of a wheelchair from Chapter 1 appears to be gone in the newest chapter. And in the
they removed
remasters,
that?
as confirmed by these animated models released by the game's official team. And if that wasn't enough, if nothing else, we know that Joey Drew sent that note from the beginning of the game.
Dude,
unless he
so
sent it right before he
looking.
transformed himself, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that a
Kinda reminds
Bendy
me of
monster
X
looking
from,
like that would have the best
Resident Evil 2.
penmanship. Now look at another change that happened in the remasters. It used to be that Bendy was summoned by pentagrams on the ground, but if you play through again, you'll notice that they're just random shapes in a circle. Pentagrams come with evil satanic connotations. This change tells me that Bendy is no longer meant to be purely a villain. But if he's Wally Franks, a man who was against his will thrown into the ink and transformed, this suddenly makes sense.
And he was always talking about trying to leave that
Twitter post
place.
I mentioned earlier that Wally doesn't escape from Joey Drew Studios, so he has to be someone in the game, and we have yet to meet him with just one chapter left. There's only so many people he could
Kind of weird that he would be the final
Now look
guy,
at his
though.
audio log from Chapter 4.
These guys down at the warehouse get to play games all day while I'm stuck cleaning up after them.
Yep.
I tell ya, if these guys don't start realizing who the real genius is,
the real genius
This
is.
reveals to us that he's disgruntled and vengeful to his fellow employees, a trait which we know from Susie as Twisted Alice would turn him into an imperfect ink creature, like the imperfect ink demon Bendy.
I
The
mean,
clip also reinforces
because
the idea that
people don't
Wally
appreciate his
cleans up
work.
the messes of everyone else. And what do we
I mean,
see
you're
Bendy
getting paid to do
with
that,
the
but-
projectionist in Chapter 4? Cleans up his mess by dragging his body away. In fact, if I'm right
how
in
nice.
saying that Bendy is constantly throwing people back into the ink machine in the hopes of producing a perfect Bendy, well, that's what he's doing in the
Maybe
context of
perfect
this
coworkers.
entire plot. He's trying to clean up after the mess Joey Drew created.
I guess it's a
But
good way to
regardless
do
of
with
whether
a side
evil
character
Bendy is
that's
Joey
talked
Drew
about a
or
lot.
Wally Franks, one thing I can promise you is that just like there's an evil Alice Angel and
There's
a
gonna be
good
a good
one, there
Bendy.
is a perfect Bendy to balance out the ink demon. And dear viewers, I'm here to tell you that perfect Bendy is you. That's right.
Me?
You, Henry the protagonist, are gonna be the prophesized Bendy
Are
that
we gonna
saves
go into the
Joey
ink
Drew
machine?
Studios and all its employees from their cycle of rebirth.
I don't wanna
Here's
go in
how
the
I see
ink
whole thing
machine.
playing out. First, we know that Joey and Henry started this business together, and we know that Henry created one of the characters. Based on the fact that his desk has what appears to be an early version of Bendy with a no over top, it seems pretty clear that he created Bendy, but got rejected by Joey. Eventually, Henry leaves the company. However, we know that Joey Drew steals characters. So he stole and tweaked the design of Bendy, leading to huge amounts of success and even its own theme park.
And
which
then
begs
Henry
the
has a
question
problem.
Then, what would lead Susie to say this?
Times are tougher than I thought.
Why would Joey, despite all this success,
Look at the
be
what?
poor? Well, it's because of Henry. We know that Henry did something to the studio or to these characters based on this line in Chapter 3.
I know who you are.
Wait, what? What did Henry do
I'm
to them?
thinking Henry sued the company for stealing his
Oh,
character.
and put them in a
Or
bad spot
perhaps
and
based
then-
on the poison
yep.
ink that he's represented by in that opening ritual, is the one who created and sent the ink machine in the first place. All in the
As a
name of
trap for
sabotaging
Joey,
the man
yep.
who stole his character. It was his OC, Do Not Steal, but then someone did. Joey Drew stole his OC, and we online know that that's unforgivable. So Joey invited him
Why did
back
he show
30
Reddit?
years later to see the ruins of their business, forcing Henry to face what he did. Joey approaches Henry, forces him into the ink, and everything seems lost. But then, since the ink machine clearly judges people, Henry's pure love of these characters will be the thing that ultimately allows him to emerge as perfect Bendy, overcome Joey Drew, destroy the ink machine, and set
So how are we gonna see
everyone
Joey
else
Drew?
free.
Or maybe we're gonna put
The
Joey
end.
Drew through the
Well,
machine and
at
he
least
can become the
until
monster.
5 chapters at Bendy's too. But hey, that's just a
FNAF.
theory. A game theory.
Which,
Thanks
back-to-back
for
Bendy
watching.
and Ink Machine
Want more
theories
Bendy
is kind of
action? Then
crazy.
Check out my friends over at the leaderboard as they break
The
down all the
leaderboard?
secret Easter eggs from Chapter
Oh, how many
4.
Easters?
Like,
Probably
did
a ton
you
of them.
realize that the connections between Bendyland and Disneyland actually go a lot deeper than you might think? If you head on over,
I mean,
do me a favor,
I-
let them know in the comments that Matt Pat sent you.
I've been
or
to
if you want to see how this
Disney
theory
World?
got put together,
That's
click the,
the
box
one-
to
the
right
one in
and check out
Orlando.
the live stream where we actually break down all the little changes and details from chapters 1 through 3 and describe
Also,
a little
the-
bit of what
the
it's like to be a theorist
progress bar being a
looking at
different
all
color.
those retcons. Now, if you'll excuse me, next week, something long overdue.
What is that gonna be? What do you mean something long overdue? Okay. Yeah, no, Bendy versus Bendy. I mean, it's gonna be kind of cool to see a good Bendy. The next one's gonna be Bendy's tragic ending explained. I'm guessing that's gonna be after chapter 5. Did they come out with a second game ever, or did they just keep on coming out with chapters later on? I don't know. The 5 years. Oh, but there was like a year gap between the last 2 videos. It's only been a week on the channel because they did not upload a Minecraft or a FNAF theory again. For just, it's absolutely insane. There was like a 3 or 4 week stretch where every single time they uploaded a FNAF or Minecraft related video, and it was just kind of crazy. I still haven't seen the Minecraft trailer, fun fact for you. But this has been the Ink Machine. A lot of people seem to be really excited about this. I guess after this we'll do Poppy Playtime, which I know they just came out with a new Poppy Playtime video literally today, Saturday. So I think Poppy Playtime will be next. It was literally between Poppy Playtime and Bendy and Ink Machine, and people chose Bendy. I knew nothing about either franchise, so I'm going into both completely blind. But I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I do look forward to the next one. But until then, take care, and cue the music.
We were playing